It seems like A$AP Rocky's new album, Don't Be Dumb, is actually pretty close to starting the rollout for it, and the album actually coming out. It'll be this summer. My guess is August, but we just got a new single, so let's talk about when we can expect this album, because he also just gave a new interview with Complex that reveals a little bit more about this. So let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Real quick, if you don't want to listen to this, make sure to skip 10 seconds into the future, but you can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and details everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. So before looking at the evidence and the new song, I quickly wanted to say something that I've been thinking about when it comes to Rocky is because we're so much caught up in the hype around Utopia and Travis Scott. We're always talking about 5 years he hasn't dropped. Rocky actually dropped even, longer before that. Testing came out, I think, May 2018. Astroworld was August 2018. So Rocky's been even longer overdue for a new album than Travis. But the difference is Rocky has dropped stuff in the meantime, so we're kind of like keeping up with him, while Travis was kind of like less singles, less appearances, less stuff like that. But let's take a look at this, because we just got a new song called RIOT, Rowdy Pipin'. And if you're a Rocky fan, you maybe remember this. We kind of heard about the title, we heard about the song coming out, but it finally, dropped on DSPs and everywhere else, actually on Thursday, so yesterday. Pretty weird release. Maybe he was kind of counteracting the release of Travis and his new single K-Pop, so that's why he did it there. But this is actually a single for his new album. Now, the reason why we know that is because he just gave an interview with Complex, always pretty good sources when it comes to Rocky. They seem to have a good connection to him. They always seem to be doing interviews, but he talked about this new album, and in one particular excerpt on there, they asked him, you said you were wrapping up the album in May of last year, which is true. I made a video back then, and that's around the time he dropped DMB, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then they said, and that you were still wrapping up in December. Any status update? Because they're also kind of like, fed up with him just giving us promises and always wrapping up albums. And Rocky's reply, pretty interesting, they gotta stop leaking it. These dummies gotta stop leaking shit. Every time we have to go back to the drawing board, but right now I think it's in a place where we tightened it up and we really can't make or break anything right now. We in album mode. It's time to start rolling out the project. This is just a single for the project. This is really happening. So interestingly, he's going full attack against the leakers. That's apparently the reason he's been pushing his album back, and we were actually supposed to get it way earlier. So all y'all, stop leaking Rocky's stuff, man. You don't want him to start the album, all over, because it seems like he's actually, once stuff leaks, he doesn't want to put that out anymore. He says he's going back to the drawing board, which is interesting. Not a lot of artists do this. Some artists just roll with it and then they just put out the leaks. But Rocky has been pretty active over the past couple of months and years releasing some stuff. For example, he dropped DMB, I think over a year ago, so That's My Bitch with Rihanna. Then he dropped, and I think this was after that, he dropped Same Problems earlier on this year, which was actually a cool little thing that he performed at the Amazon Prime live event there. Then he dropped Shittin' Me also earlier this year, I think maybe January, something like that, which was also a pretty good single, kind of like basic Rocky singles. I always call them like that, but that doesn't mean they're bad. So, he's been pretty active releasing stuff. And another thing that is connected to the release of Same Problems was his appearance at the Amazon Prime Music Festival, or whatever that was called, where he basically announced that this new album was going to be called Don't Be Dumb. That was the first time that we heard that name, and that was the first time that he teased that. So that's also pretty interesting and something that I wanted to put in here, because we never got an official name from him in those interviews, but he kind of teased at the name Don't Be Dumb, and that's what we've been calling it ever since. But that's not set in stone, so that could still change, so don't be dumb. Also, he was just featured in a new commercial for Beats by Dre, which also features this new song and features some of the scenes that we've seen him, shoot music videos in, I think, in the US, in Paris, in Thailand, a lot of different locations he was at, running around with this group of people. And this seems to be somehow connected to the commercial. We might be getting a music video for this new RIOT single. I actually think that is pretty likely, and that will feature more scenes from those video shoots that we were able to see, and that we can kind of get a behind the scenes look at. I think that will somehow be connected, but for now, that commercial is out. It's actually pretty big. A lot of people talking about it. It's a cool commercial. Nothing much to say about it though. Now obviously Rocky has said that he got to start rolling out the album a lot of times. So this doesn't mean that it's coming anytime soon necessarily. Though I think that a summer release is definitely always the best way to go for Rocky, especially considering some of the material he's dropped. I mean, Riot is not a single that you usually drop in the winter time. Maybe projects like, you know, Live Love ASAP or Long Last ASAP, those were kind of projects that just from the general vibe and the atmosphere on the project, you could kind of be like, okay, they might be some fall or winter projects because they were a little bit darker, they were a little bit slower, but the stuff so far that Rocky's dropped is actually pretty upbeat and actually pretty hype, so I could definitely see him dropping in the summer. Obviously, we still don't have Utopia. I think that does play a big role right now for any artist dropping, also for Drake, for, you know, for all the dogs, or Cardi with music or whatever he's dropping. I do think that plays a big role in anybody releasing right now because they want to have Travis have his moment with Utopia, likely the 28th, but we'll talk about that in the coming week a lot more, so make sure you stay subscribed on that. But I think Rocky could definitely be seeing a release date in August. I think August would be a very good time for Rocky to drop. Still got the summer, still got some festivals to go to. I mean, he's performing at Rolling Loud as well, so he kind of has a single now to hype that up, and a good single to hype that up. Riot live at a festival would be pretty dope, I can imagine. So if any of y'all see that live or go to any festivals, definitely let me know. But I think an August release date would definitely work pretty well because August is not as packed right now. We still have basically all Fridays left in August. Yeet teased at something, but nothing really set in stone and confirmed. So August could be Rocky and Drake. That's what I'm seeing at least right now. And now I think a lot of people have kind of counted out Rocky, but I think if he comes back with a really good album, aside from those singles, because the singles so far, they haven't done as much damage as I thought they would. I thought that some of the singles would go way bigger, especially DMB, the, you know, connection to Rihanna, stuff like that. He's also hinted at a collab with his baby mama, so Rihanna, on the new song, which is pretty cool because that would be pretty cool to have Rihanna on a Rocky record. I mean, we had that before, but now their connection is obviously deeper and also more public, so that could definitely make for a really commercial, you know, wave right there. Rihanna's also overdue dropping a project, so they could feature on each other's projects. But I thought that some of the singles would go bigger, and I think that's why some people counted him out. But I think if he comes back, especially after such a long time of not being in the limelight, not being in the spotlight, he can definitely do some damage with a new album. And Rocky is always someone that's not shy of experimenting, of testing around. I mean, the last album was called Testing, so he's definitely not someone that just does something for commercial uses. That's why I respect Rocky so much, and that's why I'm looking forward to this new album so much. That's everything we know about this though so far. Let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all rock with the new single Riot Rowdy Pipin'? Do y'all think Pharrell did a good job, you know, producing on that with the legendary Force count step at the beginning of the song? Immediately recognized that, and then I saw Pharrell was on there. Great moment. Love Pharrell. What do you think about the new Complex interview? Have you read it in depth, and what other takeaways do you get from it? All your thoughts and your theories on this new Rocky single and project, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.